If you're a burnt out corporate, you definitely want to be hearing to this interview. Or maybe you're a burnt out corporate with a new family, a couple of young kids, tricky time in life. A lot of us have been there. So today's interview is an amazing couple who were those burnt out corporates. They had young kids and they've started out as complete beginners online. They completely retrained in digital skills with us. And now they run a 7-figure digital agency. Not only that, they are award-winning, multi-award-winning digital agency. They're winning some of the biggest digital agency awards out there in Australia. Have I built you guys up enough, Pete and Renee? Legends. Welcome. And I should have thrown in live the dream, the lifestyle. You're living there at beautiful Burleigh on the coast. Liz and our kids were just there yesterday. But welcome, guys. Thanks so much for coming along and sharing your story with us, or an update for a lot of our members. A lot of our members know you guys. For those that don't know you guys, what I'd love to do is go back to your journey, because today, it's easy to see you're legends. You literally are multi-award winning. You're really moving up in the ranks in terms of digital agencies. You're winning awards above and beyond some of the biggest, most established agencies out there. But it wasn't always like that. Where did you start? Where was your skill level at? To give anyone new to this community, where was your skill? Look at you both laughing. Where was your skill level at when you started this journey with us online?
Well, I'd like to say mine was a little bit higher than Pete's, but
Yep.
he was definitely limited as to his skill on the online field. Mine, I did have skills through my work, but in the online world, both of our skills were limited or low.
Because what were you doing at the time, Renee, when you first started with us?
I was an executive with the Commonwealth Bank and I had a national role. So it was taking me away 3 weeks out of a month, traveling around Australia, working with my staff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Renee, besides being a full-on senior role, I'm presuming you were earning a very high wage. But more importantly, particularly to the mums listening to this, can you let us know where you're at family-wise at that point too? So listeners, away 3 weeks of the month, where were you at with your family at that point?
So initially when Pete went into the online field, we had one daughter. So she was from born to 3 before we had our next child. So I went back to work pretty much straight after she was born, and Pete went to being an amazing stay-at-home dad and absolutely loved it, and then needed to find another passion. So that's where he went into digital marketing, because his law degree and his previous employment as a detective in the police force wasn't what he wanted to do anymore. So I was away 3 weeks out of 4, which was quite hard. In the weeks that I was at home, I would quite often get a text message saying, "Don't come in, she'd just settled." And it wasn't until we had our second child that I went on mat leave, and it really hit me, and I say this quite often, it hit me like a brick wall that I didn't actually know who our daughter was. She didn't know who I was, loved the corporate lifestyle, but yeah, had no family connection. So when we had our second, was when it was really a life-changing decision, that we needed to do something that suited our family. I wasn't always away. So that's when I stepped into learning more about the online world as well, and fell in love with it as well. And whilst we were progressing through that, we then had our third child as well, and started the business at exactly the same time. So, yeah.
And seriously, well done, because That's a pretty amazing story. And Renee, I want to say a big thank you for sharing that, because a lot of mums listen to this and listen to you, as you know, at our live events, and it just blows them away, your story, and it gives them a lot of hope that it can be done. And as a couple, and for you, Pete, let's jump to you. Renee briefly mentioned what you did, but your situation in life then, besides being an awesome stay-at-home dad, but what did you do just before that? You had a law degree and everything. Obviously, you're super smart. Maybe not with computers. We'll joke about that in a minute. But what were you doing and where were you at? Were you burnt out as well? You needed a career change? What was your situation?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I guess for the benefit of the audience and those that are a little bit concerned that they might be starting at a low point, my learning began literally at the on-off button. So I've never forgotten poor Joe, who was working for you.
Yeah.
Would cringe every time he hears my name still, I think. Remember, for him. Yeah,
that's Joe Burrell, who's now a legendary website broker, and we've done lots of podcast interviews with him. Go and check it out if you heard. But you just heard that Joe Burrell was Pete's coach when Joe worked for us as a coach all those years ago. He was I forgot that he was helping you go beyond turning a button on and off for a computer, because you did struggle a bit, I seem to recall, when I did a few calls with you, Pete, on some of your sites. It was pretty challenging back then, building websites and stuff.
Yeah, look, I guess I just didn't have that background. My background was law, obviously, so it was a challenge. But yeah, you're right. To go back, I was certainly burnt out and doing what I was doing. Wasn't enjoying it. Was going through the motions. And then I guess we were fortunate. We made the decision on the home front that Renee would go back to work after Chelsea was born, and kind of forced my hand a little bit. I probably didn't need much pushing anyway to leave the police in the role I was in. And it was great. Like it was,
because you were in a pretty full-on, as a detective and everything. I'd imagine that's a pretty full-on role. What a different. When you sit here now, and for our listeners and guys, we should celebrate this. It's been about 10 years, hasn't it? Let's put in perspective for everyone listening to this. Would you say it's been about 10 years since you started with us?
Just thinking a little bit more, actually. Because Chelsea's almost about to turn 13. So
there you go.
Yeah. I was just sitting here thinking while you're talking to Renee. Yeah, I thought it was 10, but it's probably closer to 12, 13.
12, 13 years. And
so a newborn when I first met you guys.
Yep. So completely retrained in your careers. So from, ex-detective, doing law and everything like that, you were going to become a lawyer, but instead you've gone this path. And Renee, for you, very senior role at Commonwealth Bank of Australia, traveling around. It has taken you. What I want people to realize, and what the reason the three of us are doing this interview is so people realize this has been a journey. It wasn't an easy one. And I think listeners, you can probably appreciate there. You can probably hear, realistically, I was Pete and Renee's coach, whilst Joe Burrell helped out as well, coaching the guys. But I worked very closely with you guys, and it took a good 3 years or so, didn't it? That's my recollection, but it did seem to take quite a while back in those days.
Yeah, definitely. I think, not that I even log on and attempt to build websites anymore, because fortunately we've grown and we have people who do that for us. But I think probably building websites is possibly a little bit easier these days in terms of what some of the themes can do. But I guess there was just the challenges on the home front as well, the whole, sleep deprived, having young kids and all that sort of thing. And I guess it just took a while to kind of get that momentum. So there was the whole learning the website side of it. And then, back in that day, you were probably not talking about SEO as much, but that really gravitated to us. So we were trying to, learn websites, but at the same time, we were possibly more interested in the SEO side of things as well. So I think we kind of knew pretty early on that that's where the money was, and that was the kind of future of marketing. So we kind of engrossed ourselves a little bit more in that, and then that kind of led to the whole, well, you've got to kind of learn business to monetize this. So, talk about a steep learning curve to try and learn web and SEO, and then kind of go, okay, we know these things a little bit, but now both having been in paid employment our entire adult working lives, you then got to learn business. So it just kind of threw another spanner in the works. So it was a pretty steep uphill at the beginning,
And you're so humble, Pete, isn't he, Renee? Like, look at what you guys have achieved. It's just amazing. Like, to think what you've been through. You just touched on a couple of really important points for our listeners, is that imagine for those of us that have kids, not just one kid, not just two kids, these guys had 3 kids. And Pete, you mentioned that was a challenge, juggling that, exiting from corporate, from very high, both of you are very highly paid, to learning all these new digital skills, starting a business, which you'd never done before, and then raising kids. Far out. No wonder you guys are winning awards. You won our top award as well, by the way. So it's seriously impressive. And really, when you think about 3 years isn't that long, but it must have been tough for you two at the time coming in. And let's touch on that because people are sitting there listening to this going, how the hell did you do that? And I think one of the success strategies is the particular strategy that you ran with, that we teach a multitude of strategies for earning money online. And the one that you guys went with was the digital agency strategy. So Renee, was that more your decision because you just show me the money now? Or what, like, how did that, what swayed your decision there to go for the digital agency strategy?
It comes back down to that both of us basically didn't have an income stream. The passive income sites are a longer term journey. And we were so passionate about our local environment and community that we wanted to see that businesses stayed functional. There's a lot of big players coming in, but to the local communities, it's really important. And we felt that we could actually help the community out more by providing websites and then providing them with leads from their online presence. So that's really what got us into the passion of going as an agency. Initially, we were more focused on websites, but found that it was a real roller coaster in income with when people were paying, when they got things back to you. From where we have changed from back then to where we are now, like completely different to how we do a journey with a client. But the SEO was an absolute passion of mine, and it gave the regular income. So the websites were the cream on the top, as the SEO was consistent every single month. And then we've built the business up to focus on those two. And then now we have progressed even further into other services.
That's brilliant. So isn't that the perfect thing in life? Like, after what you've been through with corporate, and a lot of people listening to this will appreciate, burnout. It's a big thing these days. To suddenly find something, well, it wasn't sudden, full disclosure, 2 to 3 years, as you heard. But Renee, like you said, you're passionate about it. Like SEO, search engine optimization. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what that is, that's ranking websites in Google for local businesses. And Pete and Renee, we should mention too, you guys literally live in paradise. You're here on the Gold Coast, Burleigh waters, little Burleigh by the beach. You're called Digital Surfer. That's the name of your agent. You literally live near the beach, and your office is near the beach. So you find this passion, but also recurring incomes. That I remember when I was coaching you, the two of you said, Matt, this is awesome. This is like the life. Now, do you remember, Pete? I used to harass you for quite a few years that you should be doing it takes a smart woman, right? But I did harass you a lot to do the digital agency strategy for cash flow reasons, because I had also had a feeling you guys would blitz it. And look at it, that Renee comes along and says, yep, we're doing that. And did you find it did work pretty quickly to be able to quit your job once you dialed in the digital agency strategy? Or was it still, I know you got to earn while you learn doing that. That's the other benefit. But how did the time-wise go there to the point where you're comfortable that you'd made the right decision quitting your job?
I guess it was a balance between enjoying family and having income. So the income was enough to live by. It definitely wasn't what was earning previously, but then you can say, yes, I earn a lot of money, but I have no time with my family. So you've got to have that balance. And we were happy with what was coming in to a balanced lifestyle that we had. Still to this day now, we go to all of our kids' events if they want us to, because, we're not so cool anymore.
Yeah.
But we don't miss anything. We go on holidays every single school holidays, and unfortunately, you don't get that privilege when you're working for someone.
Yep.
So that was our biggest thing, and then it was a matter of then growing it to allow us to have more time, more freedom. But my competitiveness in nature is, well, we can't just be here, let's go to here, and then let's go to here. And that's where we've got to today. And it has been a big journey. So most of you will have known from listening to Matt the exponential curve. That's definitely ours. But there's a lot of movement as you're going up there, but it's over time, it has definitely gone up exponentially from where we started.
And it's interesting, guys, when I look at the two of you, and I know you obviously really, really well. And I remember, Renee, one of the things I loved about you both, because of your background being burnt out, and particularly with the family, every coaching session we did, you said, we are setting a goal, like it's non-negotiable, where we spend time with the family. That almost came first. Wasn't even the lifestyle. Here I'm thinking, oh, you live at Burleigh, you got to be down there by the beach. It was more, we need to set, build everything around the family choices, spending time with family. But now you've been successful over this 10 years. When you look back at it, now your business has evolved into something that's gone way beyond that, gone to the next big level, because I think, and I will point this out, the two of you are ultra high achievers. Like you said, Renee, you're so competitive, and Pete, you're very humble and quiet, but mate, you are super competitive too. Like, you don't just complete a law degree and do all the things that you did part-time. And look at one of the things that I'll bring it to you. You've had to overcome some pretty full-on mindset challenge. You're not naturally a massively outgoing, like, look at Renee's beautiful, outgoing, not a problem. But who does all the sales work here? It's you, Pete. Not that you're not beautiful, Pete. I love that. I love the new hairstyle. But for you've just risen to it and gone gangbusters with it. Like, businesses grow through their sales. What dialed in for that after your career choice, what you did in the past? Did you find, like Renee, you suddenly had a passion for it, or what led to that amazing success that you've had on your side of growing the business, which is the sales side?
Yeah, I don't know if I can pinpoint, I guess, exactly when or where it happened, but I guess we just got to that stage in the growth journey, where we talk about more clients, hire more people, more income, and, you plateau a little, and then you grow a little, and you plateau a little, and you grow a little, and, it was always going in the right direction, but it was a bit slow, I suppose. Maybe it wasn't a bit slow. We just felt it was too slow because we wanted everything yesterday.
High achievers can't help yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, didn't matter how fast it might have happened, it was never going to be fast enough. I guess there's one day the penny dropped. We kind of said to ourselves, we just need more sales. It's as simple as that. We've built a team, a very, very capable team. We can take on a whole lot more work. And I guess at that point, I said, you had to go and immerse myself in sales, and I had to go out there and learn that. Like, I could always hold a conversation, no problem at all, but speaking to people in a normal everyday sense, but then selling to them where there's an expectation of results, it's a different conversation. So, and
I want to congratulate you too. And anyone listening to this, please realise, again, this is the theme of this interview. It's easy to look at Pete and Renee and go, what legends, that I could never do that. They're now this massive, big agency because you've got lots of staff members, all that sort of stuff. But let's take it back to where you were at. Pete, not only were you had to learn how to sell, which you've never done before, but you still had to retrain yourself in digital. I know you jokingly say you can't build websites, but mate, you're bloody good at SEO, just like Renee. The two of you love SEO, search engine optimization, and you understand that back to front. How the hell did you divide the roles? How did it turn into, like, Renee's the legend on that side and the technical side and the building the sites? How have you guys partnered up in this as a couple? Or was it just natural? Pete, did you just want to keep Renee happy and said, yep, I'll do what you say? Like me and Lee.
Option C, option C.
I'm not the most organised person in the world either, so
Yeah.
it was kind of natural that Renee looked after certain things. Yeah.
It got to a point where we were wasting too much time at both of us trying to organise both sides of the business. So it was, Pete, you're looking after sales, I'm looking after all the running of the business, the staff, the systems, and all of that sort of thing. So it allowed the separation in the business as though it was a fully run business. So our end goal down the track, as you know, is to sell out one day. And if you're trying to sell out a business and it's still reliant on two people sort of running it conjointly, whereas easily another salesperson can walk in, another general manager can walk in and just do those roles without it being seen as a family business. It can just be a business as such. So we implemented that very early in our journey because we found that it just wasn't working, both of us trying to do the same things, because lo and behold, we actually have different opinions on things. So
even SEO?
It was just best that you do what you do, I do what I do. And it is a big journey in that a lot of things Pete does, I don't agree with, but we've both made the decision that that's your portion, this is my portion. And we will still discuss things, but at the end of the day, it's what the person who's in charge of that section of the business is the one that makes the final decision.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think. I just realised, like, for Liz and I, it's effortless in business. We've worked together 24/7 for 30 years and always bought and sold businesses together. But for you guys, I just realised you're from two totally, completely different backgrounds. You never worked together ever. Like, you never even saw each other in the roles that you're in. You'd be lucky to even cross paths at certain times. And now all of a sudden you're working together 24/7, raising the kids together, which is an even bigger job, as we all know. That's a major achievement for the two of you. And obviously you enjoy working together.
Yeah, we went from, as Renee said at the beginning, being away 3 out of 4 weeks per month. And Chelsea and I living at the surf club together Sunday to all of a sudden we go to the same workplace every day. I mean, it was a bit of an adjustment, I guess, but it's worked. Yeah. Got a great office now, which is good. I'm downstairs, Renee's upstairs, so there's nice bit of separation. And sometimes we might have a disagreement, so you can probably see the stairwell behind us. I won't walk up the stairs to argue, and she won't walk down the stairs to argue.
Well, one thing too that I will point out here, looking at this journey, that really stands out with you guys, and I think, Renee, it's probably for both of you coming from that corporate kind of a background. You guys very quickly started employing staff. You didn't run it as a solo, small family-run business. Almost straight away, I mean, you hired some of our very own champion members, people from within our community that we'd trained, so you knew they could build websites. Give us a sense of, once things started to take off, who were your first hires?
So we first hired 2 champions to work around SEO and websites with us. And due to taking on new staff, there's obviously an expense. So it was on a part-time basis because that's what suited us. And then our third hire was part-time as well, because we could see the expansion in the local SEO, so through Google business profiles and things like that. So we actually hired a person to do that as well. So we had 3 part-time staff, 2 of those were champions. Then we went on to hire another champion as a full-timer because the 2 champions as part-times were going off and growing their businesses as well. So it was helping them, helping us on a journey pathway. Because I did come from the corporate background where it was all systems, processes, tracking, I was very big on how much time are we investing in things, what's more cost effective. We were outsourcing website builds to assist us in building them quicker.
Mm-hmm.
When I sat down and worked out how much time we were actually doing as a business, going back and forth, but most importantly, how much time outside of normal business hours we were working, in my calculations, it was just as beneficial for us to have someone on the ground here for us so that you could just go and talk to them. If there was any issues, they could fix them straight away. So we ended up employing a full-time web developer as well for the business.
So they're in Burleigh, like where you guys were working. And were you in your own office then, or were you still working from home at that point?
Yeah, so at that stage, we were in an office. So initially, when it was just the two of us, we were at home. We then went to a shared office space, and the other staff were working from home. We then went to an office down in Coolangatta on the Gold Coast, where we had staff, and then we actually moved to an office in Burleigh. And that's when we got our website developer. So everyone, we had a on-site SEO, website developer, local SEO, then hired another full-time SEO employee. And then we started to outgrow that business. So we moved to another premises, which then we expanded our services as well and went into paid advertising. And then that led us to, we were outgrowing that business as well, those premises as well. So we ended up buying our own here in Burleigh.
And that's how you get rich. There are lots of businesses that I've sold over the years. You buy your own premises through your super fund, and when you do the sellout, you sell the premises as well. So you pay yourself rent.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So congratulations, guys. You've bought yourself a very nice office space there in Burleigh. And how far is that from home? To give the listeners a sense of
5 minutes.
5
and
minutes.
The school is 5 minutes. So it's like a triangle.
Yeah. So school, work, office that your business is now paid for. So this business getting online for you guys, as a difference to someone, when you think about when you work corporate, right? They pay you a lot of money. By the end of it, you got nothing. Out of this, you've got two big assets now. You've got a business asset, which you're going to do a multi-million-dollar exit from, but also you've got physical premises, real estate out of it as well. It's all kind of out of thin air, and it's all ideas in your head, all started 10 years ago. Pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And more importantly, though, for you guys, like you said, you've built this business around family, like the triangles. And I mean, having been there yesterday myself to Burleigh, you should also throw in, like any listeners from overseas, Burleigh, if you Google, it's on the Gold Coast. It's one of the most famous beaches in Australia. It is stunningly beautiful. It's a very popular tourist place when the school holidays are on. These guys literally are, they're in the triangle of the Burleigh beach and the schools and your business. And it is so cool hearing your success story there, that you've created this amazing business. One of the other things I think that people, let's change gears, going back to these employees, a lot, as you guys know, we teach people how to create online businesses, and a lot of our community do use outsourced staff in other countries and stuff. So I guess the burning question, and you've kind of answered a little bit, Renee, in that you did all the numbers, but what was the decision for using local people versus, your typical techies and stuff in the Philippines, or virtual assistants that we can hire on Upwork? You guys went complete opposite. You've wholly and solely hired locals who actually come into your office space there in Burleigh. Has that been a lot tougher? And why did you pay the extra? Because I'm presuming that's cost a lot more money to do it that way.
Yeah, it does cost extra, but then we can charge our clients extra as well, because they are getting quality staff members who actually understand the market. So they're in Australia, they know what businesses within Australia are doing. Same with content. We've got our content writer on team. We've also got localized content writers, because from a time perspective, they get what we're talking about. You can just pick up the phone and say, I need content written, or our content writer in office here. what she can produce. It's so easy to do that. But then our clients can actually ring up the strategist firsthand, talk to them. We're always here. We can go out and see them face to face. We do Zoom meetings. I think the biggest thing is that we really understand their market within the country that they're in. In saying that, we've got international clients as well.
Okay.
So we don't just do Australia. So it's getting that solid foundation, but still having the staff that have the ability just to get on a Zoom, get on a phone call, that clients can actually drop into our office if they need to. But that's our real differentiation, and that's what a lot of people actually like. And we, as our journey has moved as well, we've moved as to who our ideal client is as well. Everything is a journey. We have gone through every stage growing this business, from outsourcing to smaller business players in the market, and they all have a place. So we're not saying that they don't, but we're now looking to the multi-million-dollar turnover clients. They're our ideal clients. So when you have those, you have to be able to give superior service. And we believe having them on the ground here is what gives us that differential to other companies.
Absolutely. And so it's been a very smart decision on your behalf to hire locals, because you guys specialize, like, it's a much more personalized service. The client can actually speak to your team members. And also, like you guys have got your eyes focused on an exit one day. You're not building the business around you, the two of you. It's built around your team members. And so, it's very saleable down the track as well. It's worked out extremely well. It's been a very smart move, hiring local people, and that's given you a competitive advantage by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is super well done. So it was gutsy move in the early days though, wasn't it? Compared to other champions, it was harder for you guys upfront profitability wise, because you're investing into the business rather than going for the cheap option. But now it's gone exponential for you in that it's given you competitive advantage, because now, who are your typical clients? This is where it gets exciting. Are you happy to share some numbers? So from being complete beginners, look at it now to what you charge. What do you charge now for ongoing SEO? What's an average, what's an average, what's the word? Engagement fee that you guys would charge?
So, Matt, once upon a time, we were afraid to ask $500 a month.
Yep.
So just to kind of put that into perspective for everyone, that was $500 a month, and I was shaking like a leaf trying to tell someone that was the fee. It was terrible. I almost felt like I was a criminal.
Wow. So if you're listening to this, did you hear what Pete just said? He was that scared, and I can remember that, of charging $500 a month for ongoing SEO. So in the early days, your first goal should be $500 a month, get 10 of those clients, and then you're on your way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was your first goal. So if you're listening to this, Pete's been there, done it. So now what's it like, Pete? It's from shaking in your boots at $500 a month. What do you calmly ask for these days?
Yeah, a starting point's now gone from 500 to 5,000. So
Whoa.
It's so much easier now, though, I suppose, because obviously we've got the benefit of all those years behind us. We know a lot more than what we used to. There's over 100 5-star reviews, there's awards, there's a team on the ground, all that sort of thing. So, it just doesn't, I don't even look at it as a sell anymore when I'm talking to people. It's just education. Telling what we know, how we can help them, and then the sell aspect of it kind of just comes into the end of the conversation,
And so for you guys, obviously, $5,000 a month, that gets you a lot quicker towards your financial goals rather than 500 a month. And if that's the main, so anyone listening to this, is that to this day still your main focus, that ongoing SEO recurring income, that $5,000 a month with each client? Or do you do website builds? What do you charge? And
we still do. We have three core areas that we do. So we have the SEO and the paid advertising as ongoing recurring income for us. But the websites are actually just as big as what the ongoing income is. So we've got 2 full-time developers. And they're the leads that just walk in the door. People are wanting, people think that's what they need. So we take them on for what they need and then we upgrade them to what, people think the websites are what they want. But then we give them what they need, which is, yes, you have your website, but it's not producing anything on an ongoing basis. So then we deliver a package to what they actually are needing for their particular industry. So that could be a combination of that. So a lot of our strategy is these days with our clients is that this is your package with us, but it has SEO, it has paid advertising. It's got digital PR. There could be some CRM work in there. It's custom made to what they actually want. So if something's happening in the industry, we can increase one portion, decrease the other. So we can adjust it to achieve their online lead generation goals. So by having those bigger clients, they have a much bigger budget as well. So we have the flexibility of being able to adjust it, and they pretty much see us as their partners. So what we say is what they're actually happy to do.
Okay, awesome. So building the websites is still a big part for you. How much do you charge for typical website builds? And Pete, again, where did you start out in the old days? What did you used to charge for website builds, and what do you charge these days?
I remember the first few we did for free. I just couldn't even ask anyone for money. And then years went by. We actually rebuilt them again and charged smaller fees because we went back to them and went, oh my God, have a look at that. Like, take our logo off that. That's embarrassing. So we went with them again. And I think then we might have charged $1,000 or something. And again, we probably didn't even discuss it. We probably just cheekily sent them an invoice because we're too afraid to talk about money.
There you go.
Fast forward a few years, look at an average price is 10, but something I'd say to people that might be listening, and especially if you're at the beginning of the journey, there's benefit to websites in the $5,000 price range as well. Like, don't just go at 10. There's a little bit more work required, and typically that would involve a lot more SEO. There'd be some strategy, there'd be keyword research completed by us. There'd be a lot more to it, but when you're at the beginning of the journey, you can complete or build, I should say, $5,000 websites pretty quickly. So, we certainly do now, of course. So we went through a period of time where we probably went away from that price point. But now that we've got 2 developers and we've got a lot more systemized and processed, and we know that we can kind of complete them in kind of 30, 40 days with content. And if it's without content, because they're providing it, we'll finish them a lot quicker than that. There's money to be made quickly in that price range. So if you kind of see people around you getting $10,000, $20,000 builds, don't be completely discouraged by that, because sometimes a $20,000 build, it could take 2-3 months. And at the end of that, there's not a whole lot of money in it for you in terms of profitability. And we're just lucky that Renee spent countless hours crunching the numbers and kind of saying, you know what? It sounds attractive at the beginning, that price point, when someone says, here you go, 20 grand, but not
so if you're listening to this, well, it's like that point that we teach, earn while you learn. Start out small, like Pete did, build sites for free for people, then slowly step it up to the $1,000 range. And what Pete's saying is, you work your way up to, you hear all these stories like the guys are sharing with us, you can charge 10 to 20K, but hey, there's nothing wrong with charging $3,000 to $5,000 for a website build, because they're pretty darn easy. Because Pete, I remember on a coaching call with you one time, you did at the time what you thought was quite a small site because you'd already stepped it up. And I remember you saying to me, Matt, it was the easiest money I've ever made in my life. I made like $3,000 for helping this guy out with this amazing site. I didn't think it was that hard. He was happy over the moon, and you made a ton of, like, what, nearly $3,000. You got your website builder to build it. You didn't build it yourself.
Yeah.
I remember you laughing, saying I had to pay him about, I don't know what it was, $500, $800 or something. And then the rest you got for the sake of a few phone calls. Pretty cool. And the guy was stoked. The guy was that's an Aussie term for very happy. So it's interesting that after crunching all the numbers and looking over these 10 years, you can see that, hey, there's nothing wrong with smaller site builds as well. What are what sort of awards are you starting to win? Because it's serious. Besides the eBusiness Institute Student of the Year and multiple awards from us, I mean, pretty darn impressive. But hey, you have won some other impressive awards out there. We've got to share that with our listeners. And I think particularly what I want you to share is the most recent ones, which are really impressive. What are some of the awards you've been winning?
I won't say Pete and one of our staff members went down to the APAC Search Awards, which is
Right.
Asia Pacific awards, and we were pretty confident that we were in the running for one. We had 6 nominations in there. One of them was also the Young Search Professional. So our staff member went down with Pete, who was nominated for that. So that was a great privilege as well. And the first award that we won was the one that we thought that we had a pretty good chance of winning, which was the local SEO.
Oh, well done, guys.
And then,
Yep.
then we had quite a few others in there. Then it came to the best SEO campaign, which there were some really big online digital marketing agencies that we were competing against, and their clients were actually big players within their industries as well. So we won the best SEO campaign as well. That was amazing. And because there was no live feed or anything, I was back on the Gold Coast. The boys were down in Melbourne, and I was watching the videos as they're sending them through. And the first award, they were so excited. Even chairs being knocked over.
Right.
So that was great. Second one, they were still really excited. And then it came to the best integrated agency awards, and just their mannerism as to like, of course we're going to win this. And when Digital Surfer was pulled out for that, it's the really it's the best award out of all of them, not shine on the other two, but like the best agency award. And it was just like, oh yeah, that was us. So we took out 3 awards, and out of all of the big agencies across the Asia Pacific that were there, we took out the most. And Little Digital Surfer, that not many people probably knew about, definitely knew about us afterwards, and just even the connections with Microsoft that we've been able to establish since then, and getting into a few other connections, and just even our brand online has gone up exponential curve. And yeah, we're still getting other APAC awards, like the APAC Search Awards is one of the biggest ones in the market, but SEMrush Awards, so APAC Insider Awards.
Oh yeah, SEMrush. All right, won the SEMrush. And you know, this is that thing, like I said earlier in the interview, and if you're listening to this is what I want you to realize. It's from little things that big things grow. You guys never thought you'd be here these days in your own beautiful modern premises that you've just built, you know, at Burleigh, and not just a lifestyle business. It's gone way beyond that now, guys. I want to say a big congratulations and a big thank you for inspiring for so many people in our community, not just the family story, the burnt out corporate story, the parents with 3 kids story starting a brand new business, but that you can grow a small digital agency into something very significant. Like you just said then, Renee, Digital Surfer, not a lot of people had heard of it, yet you're winning against these big digital agencies. That's what I love about the online space. The small guys can take on the big guys, and that's what you guys have done very, very effectively. Hats off to you both. You've just nailed it on every front, all parts of your triangle. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
You know, winning all these awards, it must be, do you pinch yourselves now when you look back at these 10 years and you go, yeah, wow, think back, you know, you do this interview here, you think where you were when you both started with it, totally new to all of this, to now being, you know, the up and coming digital agency in Australia. Building you up there, but the leading SEO agency in Australia.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll be a good SEO link for you in the article.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you pinch yourselves when you look back over these 10 years?
Definitely pinch ourselves, but we quite often have a conversation, go, wow, that was 10 years ago. Something will come up and we'll go, that was 10 years ago. It feels like yesterday, but then sometimes it feels like it's probably 20 years. But the journey on where we have gone is probably our biggest win in how we've actually developed ourselves. Because as we said right from the start, we were both in the corporate world, PAYG, had no idea of running a business. And it is just all about learning, and people think that failing is a bad thing. Couldn't tell you how many things we have failed. But no matter what we fail at, whether that's a business decision that we've made that's wrong, whether that's a client that we've actually lost, every single time we will sit back and go, what could we do differently? What did we actually learn from that? And then we move and change to do that. So the successes is just the cream on the top, really. It's the continual growth of us personally. And yeah, celebrating the amazing successes that we have and the amazing team that we have built to work with us. Because without that amazing team, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Guys, that is just so unreal to hear your update here and to celebrate this moment. And obviously a big congratulations on all the awards that you have recently won, but more importantly, a big congratulations on your journey, like you said, Renee, and also a big thank you from our community for so openly sharing your journey over the years. Every year you come and speak at our events or do these podcast updates. And, you know, this is a longer than usual interview here for a very special reason. I think you guys have shared some amazing insights into your success, and obviously around, you know, you just went straight into the team building side. And as a result, you've built an amazing agency called Digital Surfer. If you're looking for, obviously, if you're a corporate looking for SEO, go and chat to the guys. These guys are your people. These guys, you've just heard how good they are, award-winning and everything. So but congratulations, seriously, really, really well done. It's just fantastic seeing your success, and can't wait to see the next update as well.
No problems. Thank you. Thanks, Matt.